Hello class, my name is Steve Lohman. This is going to be my week 8 assignment for my update to my personal mastery. I'm going to do this via brief and somewhat of a whiteboard for visual presentation for you guys. So what we'll be talking about today is personal mastery. The mission objective is for me to develop personal mastery, ensure purpose in life, and complete my personal vision that we developed in week 3 of the class. TAC objectives for today: competence and skills, spiritual growth, living life from a creative viewpoint. That's what makes up a personal mastery. Flow, we'll go through a brief here shortly, cover some TAC admin, motherhood kind of stuff, and then we'll get into the center of gravity, which is living life from a creative viewpoint. Players, myself, Steve Lohman, Sambo, the great. He's going to be my student because he definitely needs to know how to develop personal mastery as opposed to just sitting on the couch all day. Sweet. EP of the day, if Sambo gets off the couch, I'll have my back scratcher there and bring him back. Cool. All right, so like I mentioned before, the 3 parts of personal mastery are competency and skills, spiritual growth, and then the center of gravity is living life from a creative viewpoint. So competence and skills, that for me is job performance. I need to get to a certain standard of performance so I can make rank and eventually retire comfortably from the military, which is my current career path. Spiritual growth, for me personally, again, is reflection on where I've come so far, which we'll get into a little bit more here in seeing reality clearly. And then what I really want to talk about today is meat and potatoes of the brief, is living life from a creative viewpoint. So Senj talks about 3 things that we can do in order to help live life from a creative viewpoint. How do we do that? Developing a personal vision, seeing reality clearly, and then having the courage to choose, make decisions, and be the masters of our own fate. So vision. How do we develop a vision? We constantly ask ourselves why. For me, my vision is retirement on a lake home in a rocking chair, similar to this picture right here. I see myself old, gray, still playing outside with grandkids, living in a lake house. And how do I do that? I have to retire, have the financial stability in order to buy a house and live comfortably for the rest of my life in the golden years. So for me, I constantly ask myself why. And in order to do that, I had to assess what my values were. So my values were economic security, family, inner harmony, and serenity. Economic security, obviously some of these things are material items, so you have to have the money in order to do that. Family's first for me. I find it very difficult now being in the military away from family. I don't like not being able to see them except on holidays, if I even have that opportunity. So everything that I try to do is based around family. Inner harmony. Inner harmony is just kind of what makes you tick. For Sam, that's a couple belly scratches. For me, it's the sunshine, the water, and being around family, laughing, having good times. And then ultimately, that's what works for me. I view serenity as my last value. Serenity is like harmony for everybody. And again, my ideal goal is that I get to have my grandkids, my kids at my house, everyone's having a good time, and they view the lake house as a great place to go to. So when developing a personal vision, you kind of look at your values and you're like, okay, well, why do I want that vision? Why do I want that sports car? Why do I want that lake house retirement? Take a look at what you value in life, and that'll help you get there. The second skill in order to live life from a creative viewpoint is to see reality clearly. We have an EP here. In flight emergency. All right, he's back. No, he's not. Jesus. Okay. He might leave the classroom, but you guys are still around. So seeing reality clearly, Senj talks about creative tension, and really what that comes down to is you view current reality and present time based off where your vision. For me, it's pretty easy because I have a long time frame. For you guys, it might be difficult because your vision might be not so time separated. So for me, I look at 30 years down the road where I want to be retired, and am I taking the right steps to do that economically? That creative tension, seeing the difference, like I'm here, but I want to get here, naturally creates that rubber band tension, and the tension's uncomfortable, so it's going to want to make you want to get closer, bring your reality closer to that vision. So that is a way to... how I do that is I go about and I reflect. One thing that I do is kind of like a meditation is I'll sit by the campfire, I'll sit in my hammock when it's nice and cool out. I'm out in the middle of Las Vegas, so that doesn't happen very often. But I'll sit out in the hammock, just kind of deep breathing, reflect on where I am and where I want to go, and hopefully get that tension down smaller. Right. Last skill to develop is choosing. Life's gonna throw you curveballs. It's not how it goes. It's not always goes as planned. But when you're faced with a decision, you just have to have the courage to make that decision and deal with the consequences. At some point, you gotta play the cards that you're dealt, and hopefully, if you're practicing this skill and making it a discipline, those cards are dealt better in your favor. But you make the best decision based on your values and based on where you want to go, and then you deal with the consequences. So some contingencies to deal with along the way. Senj talks about the doubts that we can have, the powerlessness and the unworthiness. So you take a look at a vision like mine. Can I afford a multi-million-dollar home and a lake house? Maybe I don't feel like I'm worthy enough to do it. Maybe I feel like I don't have the power to do it. Those are the doubts that you deal with along the way. How do you combat those doubts? For me, it comes down to my keys to success here. My keys to success are zooming out, really taking in the big picture, and then finding someone to share that spiritual growth and share your personal vision with. So that being said, as long as you zoom out, you keep life in perspective, you find someone to share your goals with and your personal vision, hopefully you can make your personal mastery, you make that a discipline, and you can constantly reflect on your progress made so far, and eventually one day you're living in a lake house with your grandkids in a rocking chair, smoking a cigar with a glass of scotch, or whatever your equivalent is. So that concludes my personal mastery update there. I know the board's really small and the colors aren't necessarily accurate, but thanks. See you.